Hey guys, good morning. We're super excited to be able to be in the Word together. What an amazing day we this Sunday just to have so many people come out to celebrate the mighty work that the Lord had done there at the dedication service. I'll tell you what, for me, it's just humbling to see the hand of God move and work in such an incredible way in our midst as a church. I just cannot wait to see all the things which the Lord has done. But also to celebrate all the things which he's done already, and so it's super exciting. Today we're in the scripture. We're in Psalms chapter 7, and I won't read through the entire the psalm. I'm going to pick parts of it. There's 17 verses, so as we go through it, you can kind of follow along. But give you some background. Um, Paul, he had actually wrote this psalm after a situation where he was traveling down a road, and there was a Benjamite who would have been somehow related to Saul, who had eventually, was the king and no longer is the king. And this guy was cursing David on the road, and he was showing, sharing curses, saying, basically judgment's got to come upon you. And the guys were like, why don't you just take this guy out? I mean, you've got to shut this stuff down. And David said some really cool things. He basically said, why should I deal with this dead dog's curse, my lord the king? And then he said, please let me go take off his head, is what one of the guys from David's side said. The king said, what shall I have to do with you, the sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord has said to him, curse David. Who then shall I say, why have you done so? He basically says, what if the Lord is telling him to curse me? What if this is something that God is moving in him, and this curse is really made to fall upon me? I would never want to touch this man, even though he's cursing me. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's just such a completely different attitude when face to face with real slander, people saying words about you, whatever that might look like. I mean, David has the right perspective. And then he writes this psalm at some point in time, because maybe this curse is real. Maybe something is going to come upon David. And so verse 1 would say this: "O Lord my God, in you I put my trust. Save me from those who persecute me and deliver me, lest they tear me like a lion, rendering me in pieces while there is none to deliver. O Lord my God, if I have done this, if there is iniquity in my hands, if I have repaid evil to him who has peace with me, or have plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue me, overtake me. Yes, let him trample my life to the earth and lay my honor to the dust." Verse 8, skip down just a bit. "The Lord shall judge the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to my integrity within me." This is so critical, and this is so needed in this world today. The moment that there's legitimate judgment and justice, or just any sort of like slander that might come with you, somebody judging you in any way, shape, or form, how should we handle that? In David's case, he gives us a perfect example. He doesn't reject it. Actually, he goes to the Lord and says, "Lord, is there any wicked way in me? Is there anything that's going on in me that would cause these words to be true, regardless of how they may come out, regardless of the source of anger, bitterness, fierceness that somebody might have towards me? Is there any truth, Lord? Search my heart. Make sure that I'm right with you. Make sure that I'm right with my enemies. Make sure that I have nothing in this at all, that these accusations are truly false. And if there is any truth to them, then will you please bring those to light? Will you judge my heart?" And guys, it's such a better thing when the Lord chooses to judge your heart rather than bring judgment in your life and the consequences that follow, right? That's the place where we all want to be as followers of Jesus Christ, is allowing the Spirit of God to come in and truly judge our life. And so what a blessing that is. And then it continues on. He says this: "Let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just, for righteous God tests the hearts and the minds. My defense is of God, who saves the upright in heart." right? God is going to be the one who tests. He's going to be the one who needs to be evaluating your heart. If you do that first, then you will be able to experience the joy of having all of that being taken care of right here rather than exposed to the world. And then it says this in verse 11. This is huge. And this is a really important theological point that we've got to understand. God is a just judge, and God is angry with the wicked every day. If he does not turn back, he will sharpen his sword. He bends his bow and makes it ready. So what's he saying? He makes it clear. A lot of times we're going to say things like, God hates the sin, but loves the sinner. And I'm going to kind of break that down a good bit. The reality of it is that this is telling us, along with many other places in the scripture, that God clearly hates sin vehemently, but he also is against and would therefore, be angry and have a hate for the sinner as well, because he's the one who's doing those things. But here's the beauty of the gospel, right? God's full wrath and anger is coming upon all those who sin. That's just the nature of being a righteous judge, which we get to see here. But here's the deal, and this is the blessing that we have, is that because God's love is also at full capacity, he had the ability to have his love come and overwhelm the anger, not get rid of it, but actually now transfer it. Out of love, he said, I'm going to transfer every ounce of that anger that I may have towards the sin and even towards the sinner, and I'm going to take it upon myself. Right? I'm going to bear the full wrath and the burden there on the cross. And so we get to see that God's righteousness demands judgment, and therefore God's love says, I want to take that judgment from you. So it's not actually like an elimination of judgment at all. It's actually a payment of judgment, but he decided to pay that judgment himself so that he might demonstrate his immense love for us. That's the beauty of the gospel, and that's the reality of how we have to look at it. And so let me ask the question, are you able to allow your love through the power of Jesus Christ to overcome and overwhelm even some of what we may consider righteous anger, so that we might be able to demonstrate the love of Jesus Christ even to people or situations or sins that just disgust us? We have to be, so that we might be people that will be able to demonstrate and share the love of God. And where should all of it start? It should start here, because we should judge ourselves and allow the Spirit of God to judge us, so that we are going to be free and clear from any of these things. And let's let the Lord handle the other issues. Love you guys. God bless you all. And we will see you tomorrow morning.